Hey everybody, it's Monsters Lounge. My name is Jeni.
I'm Tressa. Hi.
We have a very special episode for you tonight because we are out adventuring in the world in the Pacific Northwest.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
So we have some awesome footage from the Oregon Bigfoot Festival and beyond.
Yes, there was beyond there. Yeah.
So we've got a little bit of that going on.
Yep. What else we got?
We might have a little bit of an interview with Ronny LeBlanc.
Oh my.
That is correct. Yes, we talk Bigfoot.
Really, Ronny?
A little bit.
That's fun, you guys.
I finally convinced him to do it a little bit.
Yeah.
What else do we have, Tressa?
I don't know, some stuff.
Yeah, just some stuff. So watch it. You'll have a good time.
Stuff. We did some cave dwelling.
We did. We dwelled in a cave for a little while. It was very nice. It was a little cold.
It was very cold
and very wet.
Yep.
But we hung out there. For a while, and it was good. And Tressa let us through. A-okay.
That's right.
No one died.
I'm the best.
We definitely don't have a new cameraman. Kevin is definitely still not in the
We're gonna talk about that. And right now, Jamie Shupsky is taking us on a tour of all the paranormal junk.
All of it. So please listen to that episode. Also this one. What?
Yeah. Yep. Do all those things.
Do all of those things.
And enjoy the rest of this.
Ta-da! Hi, everybody. It's Jeni from Monsters Lounge, and we are at Bigfoot Fest in Portland. We've been talking about it forever, and it's very exciting. And with me is Ronny LeBlanc.
Hey, guys.
From Expedition Bigfoot and just awesomeness. Oh, what? No,
I shook the table a little bit there, but
oh, I'm going to continue to shake it. I'm just waving this around because all of a sudden I got very nervous. Bigfoot's kind of my favorite thing ever since Harry and the Hendersons. What?
Oh my God, yeah, great movie.
Right?
Yep.
How long have you been doing this?
Professionally, I would say like 2010 is when really started to go out and investigate and look into this stuff, and that was because of a friend discovering tracks out in Massachusetts, and so we casted one of those. And then I've always been into it since I was a kid, and I've always been, I think, more into it than anybody because I started just going to the library and getting books as a kid on animals, nature, anything like that, science-based. But then I remember walking by Lauren Coleman's book, Mysterious Universe, and seeing a Bigfoot on the cover, and the idea of cryptozoology, hidden animals that people are still discovering, not just scientists, but regular people, was super exciting to me. And I was like, okay, I want to do that. And at an early stage, I wanted to do nature shows and go out there, because I watched Wild Wild America and these different shows, right?
Yes, Wild America was the best.
And it's funny how now it's come full circle. I'm out there. I am looking for an undiscovered primate, but I believe that there's something else. I believe that they're doing things. They seem to be interdimensional, or what you would label alien, because of the high strangeness that's associated with a lot of these sightings and encounters. And that's the other piece that's intrigued me, because I've equally been into UFO stuff. And it's just interesting to see those things intersect. And we've captured a lot of things on the show that point that there's something else going on, that this isn't just an animal.
Do you think it's the one thing, or do you think that there's like two?
There's multiple.
There's a primate, and then there's possibly a different sort of entity.
Yes. So I think people think initially that there's one Bigfoot, like a Loch Ness, but there's more. I've seen a video of a family together, and this idea that there could be, there's talks like Kawani Lasperitis, who's from Washington State, very controversial. He's wrote the Sasquatch People and the Psychic Sasquatch.
Oh, okay.
And documented, 200 plus cases of people having these interactions. And he talks about there are two different versions, it seems, of Bigfoot. The ones that are considered the ancient ones, that are alien-like, that seem to be able to cloak and do these different things. And there could be another version that is almost like this tamed down version of what these things are, what they can do.
Okay.
But the idea of orbs being associated with these locations and sightings. And just literally 2 days ago, back in Massachusetts and throughout New England, we have all these mysterious stone chambers that were there before a lot of the Native American tribes.
There's so much ancient like history and lore, especially around like the New England area and the geological like formations and how old that rock is.
Well, what's amazing is I had an expert that's local into the stone chambers. He's actually working with the chief of the Neshoba tribe, which is in that area, and them together go to these locations where they've had ceremonies. And what they've just recently started to discover the past few weeks, and why he actually came to one of my talks, is they're discovering structures that are being placed at these stone sites and these sacred sites that they haven't seen before. And the chief is looking into the lore of his tribe and the history, and he can't find anything around this. And the gentleman that came out to talk to me was like, I remember reading your books a few years ago about this stuff, and I had to talk to you. What do you think is going on? I go, I think it's either humans or it's Bigfoot. He goes, they're enormous structures that just appear overnight. And so I think that's really intriguing, because that seems to be like the first time they've seen this in 20 years.
Okay.
So is something coming? Are they coming to these locations for a reason? Is there, like, what is going on? And they're mystified by who's putting these up, and they do believe, and just like other researchers that have been doing this for a while, there seems to be Bigfoot sightings and other entities at locations that are considered sacred or holy, where they've had Native American ceremonies. The area where I live in Massachusetts, in central Mass and Leominster, a couple cities over, Littleton, Harvard, Air is where they have Fort Devens, which is a military base. CIA, NSA was there. They're saying that I've heard from multiple people that they had recovered a craft and they had a body there. But the area itself, and this was told to me, which I just recently learned, was a location where all the tribes would come down and they would actually have their vision quests. They would have their ceremonies. Okay. So this could be a place where you literally have a portal, or a portals, connected to these areas.
So if one place is so important to so many tribes, and then if you think about like these entities or Bigfoot as sort of a lost tribe, like that would make sense that they're coming back to then worship, right?
Potentially they're coming to these locations, right, because of the energy. And it's just interesting that you have, along with that, you have UFO sightings and orb stuff more than other locations. And so I've always talked about the connection between all these things, because they must be coming in and out of somewhere. And it's just interesting that we're starting to talk more about this stuff when it comes to quantum mechanics, quantum physics, and the idea of just looking through this from a different lens, because the scientific lens that we've been using hasn't been giving us those answers.
The quantum physics idea is fascinating. Like beyond fascinating. I spend my entire life not interested in like math, like those more very specific sciences like biology, absolutely. But now I'm like, I want to learn physics, man.
It's the idea that, and it's interesting. You have time over time. You can have all these things occupy the same space, and then you have this idea that there are these different dimensions. I for one believe, like, when we pass on. First off, I believe this is a school.
Okay. Yeah.
We're supposed to learn something or repeat it until we figure it out.
Right.
The idea of reincarnation, what have you. And I do believe that death is a doorway to another dimension. Because people here in this time period are communicating with people in the past and actually having conversations. I've, just example, like episode of Ghost Hunters years ago, they were talking to a lady who was in the 1800s in our time now, and she was like, I can hear you, but where are you? And that would fascinate me, like, wow, they're actually communicating over time, like time traveling in that sense.
Is that like the stacked time sort of thing?
So yeah, Mike Rickensecker,
he's an awesome dude.
I love him.
So cool.
Good buddy of mine, and his idea of the stacked time theory that you have, and this is when we're talking about dimensions, that their dimensions are all on top of each other,
right?
And that they like at CERN in Switzerland just recently, they're discovering, they're looking for initially the God particle, and they're trying to understand the fabric of reality in the universe. But they actually had something come out from the fourth dimension into the third dimension at CERN. So I think just things are starting to happen now that we're going to start seeing things. The curtain is being pulled back a little bit so we can see behind what's going on, because we're talking about the same stuff that tribes have been seeing hundreds and hundreds of years ago, describing the same stuff people are seeing now. And there definitely seems, from people that I've talked to at researchers in different locations, that all their activity is upticking. Like there seems to be this swelling of something's about to pop. I hope that's the case. I hope we get to learn, but maybe this is a mystery that we're supposed to just chase our tail the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I love that so much. I have a question for you, and it sounds a little bit, I have done very little to no research on this idea whatsoever. But because there's so much of the geology and the chemical makeup of the rocks, like sort of surrounding a lot of the phenomena, right? And because like along sightings and whatnot, a lot of like cave areas involved. And I know that specifically, I love Mayan culture, right? And Mayan history. So I know that was a very significant, and throughout a lot of indigenous peoples, cave systems were really. How do you feel like maybe that's a little bit of a like highway for Bigfoot?
There seems to be these different ingredients that you almost need to have, and the geology, I think, is probably the most important one, because I'll just give you an example from where I live in Leominster, which is the birthplace of Johnny Appleseed, who was a real guy, named John Chapman, and the area has a bunch of granite, so much granite that they actually use a majority of that to build the Brooklyn Bridge.
I did not know that.
And we have white and black quartz, which has piezoelectric, the ability to transmit energy. We have quartz in all of our phones. So when you have these elements at these locations, I think that is a conductor of some sort or energy that allows these portals to open, or maybe there's something with these spots. Like the Abenaki tribe up in Maine, right on their website, they talk about Bigfoot, and that if you want to have an experience or see one, to go to 2 of the natural springs, which they consider to have healing properties. And people are discovering Bigfoot prints by these places, because they are power places or energy places that they go to replenish. And this idea too with waterfalls, when you talk about the elementals and this kind of stuff, and fairies and the fae, there's some people that believe that Bigfoot is some sort of an elemental, because they're protecting Earth. They're protecting these energy locations, and people that seem to vanish in our forests, across the country, could be walking into these portals or these spots. And even these stone chambers that we started talking about a little bit earlier. There's a researcher, I'm actually reading his book, his most recent book now, Phil Imbrogno, who's from back east in Connecticut, New York. And that some of these stone chambers, they believe they're made up of granite and these different things, that they seem to almost be these time traveling things, because they talked about him and another researcher were walking this path, and they walked past this area, nothing was there. They then turned around, came, and then there's suddenly a stone chamber there that wasn't there when they walked by. And he was like, what is going on? Like, this wasn't there, or it was invisible, like it didn't make it, and they're both seeing it wasn't there before and then appeared again. So just interesting, like
that's wild, because didn't that happen in the Grand Canyon?
Yeah,
there were like those cave systems, and I think we talked about it because I love national parks, like because they're amazing and they're awesome. And why do we have them? Do we have them to set up the protection of the paranormal? I don't know.
I believe, this is my personal opinion, I believe that these national parks, they were designated because they know that there's certain things that are living out there. I just recently met with Andrea Duggan, who's actually with the Biden administration and in charge of the entire Forestry Service. She came out to Colorado to
Okay.
the Bigfoot conference that I was speaking at, and just happened to meet her prior to with a couple of friends and members of the tribes, different tribes, Sioux tribe, Lakota Sioux. And what they're trying to do within the administration, and again, I'm hoping they can continue to do this in the next few years, but they talk about when they have their ceremonies, Bigfoot, orbs, aliens will show up, will make themselves known. And she's talked to forestry workers that are seeing Bigfoot, that are finding tracks, that are finding structures, and they're just like the UFO issue, they're terrified to bark it up the chain of command for fear of ridicule. And what she's trying to actually integrate is a reporting system to let them know that it's okay, that you can then send these up, we want to learn, and they're actually meeting with other people and members in DC to let them know that these things are real.
Yeah.
And we're interacting with them. And that is fascinating to me that that's happening at that level.
At that level, yeah, absolutely.
So will it be successful? I hope so. But I found that really exciting, and it pumps me up that there's members of the indigenous tribes that are actually trying to share and communicate that this is real, and that we're learning about this. And I think there's factions of the government that already knows.
Yeah.
Because we have reports of Bigfoots walking onto military bases. Like we had that at Fort Devens.
Right.
We had a military police officer in the 90s that was on the base, and he spotted a 7-foot amber-colored Bigfoot. So he started chasing after it with the Jeep or whatever, and this thing ran into the Nashua River and disappeared.
Yeah.
He goes to his supervisor and tells him what happened, fills a report, and the supervisor, take me to the spot where that happened. They go and they see it again. And this thing then runs and goes and disappears in the river again. And we have reports like at Edwards Air Force Base of white Bigfoot with blue eyes walking onto the base.
Okay.
And the supervisor telling them, you guys may see these beings walking on the base when you're scanning with your night vision. Don't engage, just observe. So they're aware that they are, I think, connected with a lot of the UFO stuff people are seeing. It's starting to, more people are accepting it. And I find it funny too, where someone's like, I don't believe in Bigfoot, but I do believe in UFOs and aliens. I'm like, okay, that's great. What if I told you Bigfoot's an alien?
Yeah.
Okay, now you like it?
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
that's
now
where
it's
it
fine.
seems to point in that direction.
Are you troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night? Do you experience feelings of dread in your basement or attic? Have you or your family ever seen a spook, spectre, or ghost? Then Haunted Magazine issue 41 might just be for you. In issue 41 we have The Enfield Haunting, an interview with Dave Schrader, Danny Robbins, and lots more. Out now in stores, app stores, and online at bit.ly/Haunted Magazine. Remember, don't be normal, be paranormal.
It's just so amazing, and I love how like everything's starting to connect with like some of the sciences and pulling that all together. I didn't know about any of the, not that I would be aware anyway, the stone structures just sort of appearing.
Yeah, this was something from, and that was the first time I heard of that example.
Yeah.
And he also talked about they were saying, okay, when you go in there, don't put your hands in between the rocks because spiders and things like that. Well, there was a kid that apparently did that and felt around, grabbed something, and pulled out an obsidian dagger that was used by potentially the Druids or whatever to do sacrifices. But it's now considered one of the oldest artifacts ever discovered in the U.S. So those stories are just blow my mind because everyday people can discover these things. And I'll give you an amazing example. There's a young kid from England, from Somerset, England, and I'll be talking about him a little bit today, Daniel Lee Barnett. Year and a half ago, 2 years ago, silent, you like would hide under his bed, wouldn't want to go to school, was getting bullied at school, getting spit on. He's autistic. He just turned 15, and he started watching Expedition Bigfoot on Discovery Channel, the show that I'm in, and with his grandparents, and got fixated on this idea of Bigfoot. It's long been talked about the British Bigfoot. Is there a Bigfoot in England? They seem to show up everywhere else in the world, but it didn't seem to make sense. There's not enough
England
acreage.
Got? It's got a cat. Like, that doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. So
you got a cat on the moors.
He's starting, right, the big
give you
cats.
Some more stuff.
So he started watching this show, got into it. He decides he's going to go out and investigate in the woods in Somerset. And Somerset is considered one of the final resting places of King Arthur. So there's mystical and magical things around this area. He goes out and he starts a thing called Expedition Deer with his friends, because they can see deer, they see tracks, and they're going to use this as a way to train to look for Bigfoot, which I thought was brilliant.
It's a smart.
As he starts doing this, they discover an 18-inch footprint in the forest. He casts the footprint.
Okay.
He then starts calling all these companies that do eDNA analysis, which is environmental DNA.
Okay.
And we've used this in the field. We found a structure in Kentucky that looked odd, and Dr. Maria Mayer and myself took an eDNA sample from that soil, and it came back unknown primate. So no one's ever seen a Bigfoot building a structure, but we think we got the closest thing to that by discovering that evidence. So because of that, he was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get DNA evidence. So he calls all these companies, unbeknownst to his parents.
I love this kid.
Right? One of the companies, one of the CEOs or whatever says, yes, send it in, we'll do it. Because they gave him this story. And a week later, his dad gets a phone call from the CEO of this company to say, we got your results back on the eDNA analysis. What the hell are you talking about? And finds out that his son had submitted this. He goes, the reason I'm calling you is we got a hit. He's like, what are you talking about? He goes, we got a hit. Old world monkey. There shouldn't be Bigfoot in England. There shouldn't be this. And this kid discovers this. So he reaches out to me via social media, via Facebook, and we start talking.
Yeah.
And I saw that he started getting, I think I saw an article about his discovery and just his search. And I was like, holy, this kid's amazing. So we started talking, and it ended up that we figured out a way. I talked to RPG, Ryan Golembeski. I replaced him on Expedition Bigfoot. So when the season started, within the first 2 days of filming in the expedition, he got blasted by infrasound, got really sick, and they couldn't continue on. He was medically declared like, we cannot.
Yeah.
So I was called out to come on within 24 hours. I didn't know any of these people, where we're going. So we've always stayed in touch. He's been gracious and lovely the whole time that I've been doing the show and talking to each other. So him, myself, and then Renee Holland from Finding Bigfoot, we went to England, and we actually helped Daniel go into the forest, and we're investigating, just kind of mentoring him on stuff. But we found a magnetic anomaly in the forest where he discovered a bone pit. Now, we've discovered a bone pit in the show in Washington or Oregon, I believe. And so he found this series of deer skulls and bones in this pit. Like, we're a predator, we kind of need this stuff.
Right, which is super wild. You expect it here, and you expect it like in the forested areas here, but not like in England.
So we're all looking at this at night, and RPG pulls out.
Of course, at night.
Yeah. So RPG pulls out his FLIR, and we're trying to do night vision. And as he's near the bone pit, his screen starts flickering. He's like, "This never happens, man. Like, something's weird is going." I was like, "Does anyone have a compass?" And I see his eyes light up. He's like, "Oh my God, we might have."
Yeah.
We had 4 compasses laid out, and this one's north's going this one's going this way. We're like, what is going on? Every 20 seconds or so, the needle would start to move.
Yeah.
So we're like, holy crap, there's something going on with this forest. Now, this forest is also, they've seen big cats. Right. Big cats have been seen with Bigfoot, hunting together, almost like working together. So this just kind of blew our minds, like, holy crap.
Okay, first of all, I don't think I've ever been jealous of Bigfoot until that exact moment.
Right?
I would like to go hunting with a big cat. I'm just
pretty
saying.
dope, pretty dope. But so we ended up actually filming a documentary out there with him during our time, which is about a week. So we're halfway done that. He just recently spoke at the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference. Okay, this kid was hiding under his bed a year and a half ago, and he just spoke in front of 3,000 people. And people were tears in their eyes crying because it's about Bigfoot, but it's about kind of getting over your fears and getting out in the woods. He's trying to really encourage kids to get off their phones and experience the magic of what's happening in our woods and our forests. Yeah. So I think it's a great story, and we're actually going to be heading out to the Olympic Peninsula with him next month.
That's so cool.
And we're going to finish the tail end of the documentary. So I'm co-directing that, executive producing that. Our producer went to Cannes Film Festival.
Okay.
And we ended up getting 3 investors. We have 2 distributors that are fighting over the distribution of the documentary.
This is so exciting.
And this is all for Daniel. You know, we're trying to do this to help him. So we're excited. So that's going to come out in November. And we will be submitting it and going to Cannes Film Festival, the German Film Festival with it. So he's already kind of made a splash on the international world. I mean, this is something cool that whether we try to, we're turning this into a TV series too. So we're going to Scotland in January to look for the Loch Ness. We're going to possibly we're trying to finalize Malta and look at the giant skeletons that are hidden there. We have connection to the government there. So some cool stuff.
Yeah,
and so we're bringing him to the States, and he's had his taste of Florida, but he's going to go to the Mecca, which is the OP in Washington State next month. So we're excited
I'm so excited for this kid.
He's an amazing kid, and you feel like you're talking to an old soul. He's just turned 15, and he's co-directing, producing, and starring in a documentary, and he's discovered real evidence that researchers and scientists haven't been able to get on so many occasions. And this is a kid that's just gone out and got that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's in our...
Yeah. I can't help to think a little bit that it's the autistic brain, just because.
Yeah, and I think he's just he's an inspiring person, human being, and I think it's our duty to kind of pass the torch to this kid. Like he's going to take this to the next level.
So, how fun is that? Yeah. That's amazing. That's got to be such a cool feeling too. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
So it's called Mythical Legends, My Bigfoot Life. That's the documentary that's coming out, and then that will be a series that we're gonna.
I'm so excited about this.
Maybe sell to Netflix or Warner Brothers. We'll see, but
yes, can we please? And then
so keep you guys posted.
You could maybe go look for Megalodon next.
Yeah,
that would make me very happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's open to look at all these different types of, and I want to go after things that people haven't gone after yet or looked into yet. I know there's the popular things like Loch Ness. Yes.
Yeah,
of course, that's gonna be fun. But there's other ones too that I think that people haven't necessarily looked into that I would love to dive into certain areas that.
Like the giants?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Nice. Okay, so what's next after the giants?
We don't know. I think we're starting to map that stuff out now.
A megalodon? I don't want to throw that out there, but
anything's possible. I think. I think wherever we can go. I know we're going to go to Wales, and we'll go back to England, do some stuff in Scotland, but I think there's a lot for him to investigate out here in the U.S. There's just so many different legends and locations where there's a ton of activity. So.
Oh, I like this so much. Are you thinking about maybe Central and then South America as well?
Potentially.
There's so much cool stuff.
Potentially, we had Dr. Jane Goodall, world famous primatologist.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had a tiny heart attack. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm sorry.
So, Dr. Maria Mayer got a chance to interview her from London. And she had talked to, she's trying to get some information from different hunters that were out in Central and South America. And she asked, I think, a particular researcher to ask the hunters if they've ever encountered or seen a monkey on 2 legs with no tail while they're out hunting. And without any type of provoking or coaxing, 3 out of 4 came back and said, yes, they've encountered.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So those are definite locations. And really quick, going back to the Mythical Legends documentary, we got Brian May from Queen, who we interviewed him for the documentary, who's an astrophysicist, not just a guitar player, and he's really into UFOs and Bigfoot and this kind of stuff. So and then we're this close of having Sir David Attenborough on the documentary, because we have the legend, right, and you have this kid. I mean, that conversation is going to be amazing. So that's what he's agreed to. We're just trying to get that done. So I think that's going to make a big splash.
I mean, within 5 minutes, you mentioned Jane Goodall and then David Attenborough. I'm so excited about this show. I mean, I know it's yours and everything, but I'm very excited, and I'm going to need you to get it done.
And this is right Daniel's. Away. This is Daniel's world, and I think we have a trailer that, and I can share that with you guys too. And people are just excited about the story and about Daniel himself. I mean, everything else is awesome, but Daniel too with that whole thing. I think seeing. I think it's just going to inspire so many kids and adults, right, that are going to look at this and go, I got to think like this again. Go back to being a kid, because you see the world differently.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. Highly recommend going back into childhood, especially with the Muppets.
Oh my goodness.
You get so much imagination, creativity,
I grew up
magic,
on
all
Jim
that
Henson
stuff.
and the Dark Crystal and this kind
Oh my
of
God,
stuff,
the Dark
right?
Crystal.
Those worlds always intrigued me.
Exactly, which is why the paranormal is so interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Cool.
I think that's every single that's like 5 of the questions that I could have asked. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
I got nothing left.
Hey, shake and bake. Shake and bake? Is that what you just said? I'm Tressa.
And I'm Jeni. And together we're Monsters Lounge.
Where are we today, Jeni?
Tressa, we are in Upper Ape. I don't know why I'm doing that with my arms. We're in Upper Ape Cave, which has been so far about an hour and a half walk in or so. Who knows?
Who knows?
We have lost track of time in here. We have discovered no chuds.
But we are very lost.
Oh, yes. Someone send help.
I only have 2 granola bars. Don't tell those guys, though.
She has 2 granola bars.
No, I don't.
She totally said 0.
I didn't say that I had any.
We're here with our cameraman, Kevin. He has made the trip with us to make sure that we don't get lost in here.
And he failed.
He did.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see you on Tuesdays, or maybe we won't.
Who knows?
That's it.
Hey,
we got hats though.
We got adventure hats.
That's all.
No, I was just gonna say, listen.
Oh, okay.
But you can't hear that because we got mics on. It's fine.
It's very drippy.
We should turn off all the lights so you can see that it's super dark, and then just like cut off the video and I'll put a black screen there.
Wow, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, they'll never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Connor, can you turn off the light?
All right, thanks, gang. We'll see you in a little bit. All right, bye.
All right. Oh.